like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who can bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GTV Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have your self to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and a weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop. Until you get your mouth off LDBC. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yeah, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, you guys, man, salute, man. So y'all press 2. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the comments, man. We got a mic check, 1 2 1 2. If y'all can hear me in the comments, press 2, man. We're going to get on to this video today as DL Hughley went ballistic on Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, for you guys who don't know, Dr. Umar Johnson recently did an interview with my brother Art of Dialogue. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. And Umar went on Art of Dialogue's channel basically and was breaking down why he felt like P. Diddy had been getting investigated by the feds. Now, I'm gonna let you guys hear what Dr. Umar Johnson had to say in just a second, which then sparked DL Hughley to go crazy on Dr. Umar Johnson. And I mean, DL Hughley went unbelievably ballistic on Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, I'm going to say this before we get started. I think that Dr. Umar Johnson, I don't know if he should respond because I think that DL is setting a trap. And the reason why I say that is because I think if Dr. Umar, who probably will respond, but if he does respond, I think that DL is going to try and put him in a trick bag of, well, where's the school at? And I think that DL is going to change that to the conversation of where is the school that you've been saying that you was going. And I don't know if Umar wants to go that direction with it. So I think that DL, by going crazy like he did on the dude, I think he kind of set the groundwork. You understand what I'm saying? I think DL smartly, in a way, set the groundwork. Y'all smash the like button as y'all come on in. And don't forget, click the link pin at the top. And subscribe to the podcast show. I'll be doing a live podcast show later on tonight. So make sure y'all subscribe to the podcast show. The link is pinned in the chat room. But I think that is what DL is going to go to if Umar tries to come back at DL. I think that DL is going to go right to that. A lot of people do that with Umar. Whenever he says something, they go right to the school and say, well, where's the school at? You know what I'm saying? You ain't never got to school. That's what they're going to say to Umar. And so, I think that's where he's going to try and take that with Umar. And I don't know if Umar wants to go down that road again right now. But Umar, again, he went on, my brother. This all got started because, first of all, Dr. Umar went on his channel. And he said some things. And I guess he felt like some people took him out of context. But he said some things that just factually were not true in regards to the Diddy, case by the feds. And so Umar came back, went on, did an interview with the Art of Dialogue. And on that interview, this is what he said. And then I'm going to let you guys hear what DL Hughley said. Let's go.
Sean Puffy Combs' indictment. I had made a comment on my social media earlier today because I was a little disappointed in the fact that so many of our people misinterpreted my comments about Sean Puffy Combs as being indicative of my desire to see him evade accountability for any crimes that he may have committed. So to clarify that, this is where I stand on the Sean Puffy Combs indictment. If Sean Puffy Combs is guilty on any of the 3 counts of that federal indictment, if he's guilty of sexually trafficking people against their will, if he's guilty of participating in arson and bribery and kidnapping and all of these things that they're accusing him of, if they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he engaged in these things, then like anyone else, if you do the crime, you should do the time. But when I look at those indictments, first of all, when I look at the racketeering count of the indictment, and of course, I'm not an attorney, but when I look at racketeer influence corrupt organization, I'm saying to myself, Sean Combs, from what I understand, because I don't know the man personally, he did not build Bad Boy on criminal money. Bad Boy was built legitimately through the legal channels of the music industry. He might have engaged in crime using Bad Boy property after he built Bad Boy. But did he use criminal funding in crime to create Bad Boy? I don't think he did. Now, maybe RICO extends to you simply engaging in crime on company time. Now, if they're saying he sexually trafficked women on company time, and that constitutes RICO, then he might be guilty. But everybody who knows Puff knows that he came into the music industry the right way, he hustled the right way, and he built his empire the right way. It appears that all the freak-offs and the alleged sexual trafficking, the alleged interstate prosecution, that may have come after the fact. So the question becomes, can he still be convicted of RICO charge if he simply engaged in sexual activities that did not directly have to do with the business, but he did it on company time, he did it in company property? So that would be a clarifying issue that I would like to see explained. So that's one piece. Now, when I look at the sexual trafficking, again, he could be innocent, he could be guilty. But when I look at a Sean Puffy Combs being a mogul, being as popular as he is, I don't see why he would need to kidnap people and sexually traffic them across state lines and then force them to engage in sexual behavior. I really can't see that. Again, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm simply saying, as thirsty as people can be, men and women, for fame, for attention, I don't think Sean Puffy Combs has to force anybody, okay, into sexual trafficking. I don't see him needing to sell people against their will across state lines to engage in sex. I don't see it. I do not believe he's guilty of sex trafficking, but I could be wrong because I don't know what the evidence is. So the racketeering piece, I'm a little uncertain of. The sex trafficking piece, on the surface, I don't believe he's guilty of that because I don't think he needs to forcibly sell anybody or traffic anyone. Now, the third count of the federal indictment is where I think they might can get him. Interstate prostitution. Did Sean Puffy Combs influence people, pay people, bribe people to come across state lines and engage in sexual activity? He may very well be guilty of that. So then the question becomes, for me, what is the maximum he can get? Fed time for engaging in interstate prostitution. And interestingly, when you look at the federal definition of prostitution, it does not require an exchange of money. It could be a promise. It could be a material benefit. And you know, Puffy, he kind of flashy. All the hip hop guys who got money, they pretty flashy. So he might say, hey, if you do this, I'll give you this. Or what if he just gave them rewards for complying with his request? In other words, there was no upfront business arrangement for sex. There was no upfront business arrangements for sex. Hypothetically, he brings them into New York. He brings them into LA. He brings them into Miami. They do what they do. And as a means of him of flexing his power and his money, I'm going to buy you this car. I'm going to take care of your bills. She wasn't expecting nothing but time with Puff. She wasn't expecting nothing but participation in the freak-off. But because she was rewarded for her participation in the freak-off, does that meet the federal definition of prostitution?
Now, let me stop right there before I get to what DL said, because I'm going to go through what Umar said first. Let's start with the beginning of what Dr. Umar said. And, you know, salute to Dr. Umar, man. I ain't got nothing personal against him. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Dr. Umar. He said that he doesn't think that Bad Boy was built off of dirty money, right? How would any of us know? How would any of us know that unless we was with Bad Boy when it was constructed? So that's an opinion. That's not a fact. But he says he thinks that. Secondly, he says he doesn't think that P. Diddy would have to force any woman to do anything against their will. You would think that any particular person would think that. Any of us would think, hey man, a famous person doesn't have to force somebody to do something against their will. Does that make that true? No, it doesn't make that true. That makes that an illusion. That's like saying any famous person that y'all see, the most famous person that y'all see, oh, well, they ain't got to force nobody to do something. Everybody's just going to lay down. Well, every woman is not just going to lay down with every man, regardless of whether or not you're a celebrity or not. These are facts. Some people operate off a code of morals. Some people operate off a code of certain ethics. Some people like to be in a party, but they don't want to take it that far. They just want to be at the party. See what I'm saying? And so you got to look at these different things. And I think Dr. Umar should have kind of thought about that statement when he said he doesn't think that he would that he did that he needed to force any woman, or he doesn't think that he forced any woman against their will, right? Well, you just don't know. It doesn't matter because you're a celebrity that you would have to force somebody against their will. Just because you be a celebrity don't mean that, hey, I had to do this, I didn't have to do that. So I disagree with Dr. Umar on that. You understand what I'm saying? But I understand his premises of saying, hey, Diddy's he's a famous guy. Why he got to force somebody? Well, you had a lot of people, and let me tell you something. I've always learned this. When there's smoke, there's fire, right? A lot of people capping, right? A lot of people capping. A lot of people just out here jumping on the bandwagon. But some of these people telling the truth. And that's where the problem is right there. Forget all the people that's capping. What about the people that's telling the truth? Because you're not telling us everybody's lying. See, I think Dr. Umar got confused because he saw that the feds only put out this first indictment and they only put one victim in the first indictment. The feds stated that they already had an ongoing investigation and a superseding indictment is coming where they're going to hit this dude with multiple victims, multiple cases, multiple different things. I think people got to understand one thing about the feds. The feds don't have a 99% conviction rate for nothing. They're not playing no games. So I think people think that, oh man, these guys are lying and capping on him. Bro, when the feds come get you, they've got a few things. They probably got video evidence, photo evidence, text messages. They've probably got a money trail, bank evidence, all these things, witnesses, all of these things to put together. So when they go to court, they line you up with this stuff, right? That's why the feds work differently than the state. It's easier to win a case against the states than to beat the feds, because the feds, when they come, they're only going to really come to charge you when they know they got you dead to rights. So I think that's the part that people are missing. And I think people are hoping that Diddy is that 0.8% that will beat the feds and his charges will be true. But this is the one thing I think that we all have to understand. When you look at guys who you look up to, and I see they do this in the community with all the basketball players, all the football players, all the star athletes. When you're young, you grow up, you idolize a person. I don't care who it is. Whoever it is you looked up to, you idolize them. It's hard for you to see them doing something wrong because in your eyes, you don't know them. They can do no wrong, right? But they're human just like you, just like me. They make mistakes. And I think that people in general put people on superhero levels and put people who we see as big figures in our community just because they've made it to a certain level of success. We can't believe that they would do anything wrong or they would break any laws or they would do any of these negative, dirty things that people say. And that's far from the truth. You understand what I'm saying? Because nobody walking this earth is perfect. No man walking this earth. No man, woman, nobody walking this earth is perfect. Everybody has made mistakes and has mistakes attached to them. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that when we look at these guys, I don't think that you can look at these guys from and we're gonna get to that in a second. But that's how I feel about it. That's why I always say I never look at celebrities like celebrities. I don't. I talk to celebrities like normal people because they are. I think some people take themselves out of a realm and they look at celebrities and they talk to these people like they God, and they not God. They didn't create the heavens, they didn't create the earth, and when they die, all these things, the Lambos, the Ferraris, the all that stuff is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything to them no more. When you leave the same way as everybody else. You understand? In a pine box or whatever. If you got more money, it's gold or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you're going 6 feet or you're getting cremated, but you're up out of here, right? So let's go on and finish hearing what Dr. Umar said. And then I want to play what D.L. Hughley said so y'all can understand what D.L. Hughley was responding to. And let's finish.
The same thing with my RICO charge question. I don't believe he built his music empire illegally. But if he engaged in illegal activity, non-related to the music empire, but he used music empire property to do it, does that also meet the federal definition of a RICO charge? And me personally, Art, I believe the reason they went RICO and the reason they went Fed is they want to completely destroy Sean Puffy Combs publicly and financially, because this could have very easily been state charges.
Well, that's not true. And let me tell you why. First of all, why would they want to destroy Diddy when they had nothing to do with this case until Diddy's ignorance allowed them to come into this case? Case in point. And see, if I was talking to Dr. Umar, shout out to my boy Arthur Diallo. If I was talking to Dr. Umar, I'd say this to him. Dr. Umar, if it wasn't for the blatant ignorance and fucking stupidity of Sean P. Diddy Combs, to know, and I'm gonna repeat myself again, everybody listening to this video, excuse my language, but I gotta get busy on this one because we gotta educate each other and think, we gotta use our brain. P. Diddy in his brain knew that he beat the living shit out that girl. He knew he beat the fuck out of her and tried to kick her head like it was a 50-yard fucking field goal. And you know what else he knew? He knew that shit was on tape. So the nerve of this ignorant, dumb son of a bitch, P. Diddy, to come out, right? First of all, not pay the girl so that the lawsuit never came out. When she first came up to you with the lawsuit, if you would have paid her, none of this other stuff would be happening right now. None of it. So everybody keeps talking about, oh yeah, Diageo and all these people set him up. No. This stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, P. Diddy, this dude right here on your screen, right? If he would have paid Cassie before the lawsuit came out, we ain't talking about no liquor company. We ain't talking about no setup. We ain't talking about nothing. You know why? Because nobody would have ever known. That lawsuit would have never hit the streets. But his ignorance, right? His ego and his pride would not allow himself to pay that girl and get her on up out of here about her way. Right? So what happens? He plays hardball and she files the lawsuit. She files the lawsuit, and then what happens? Everybody and they mama see the paperwork and they see the allegations against Puff because the lawsuit is made public once she files it. So all of these accusations she put against Puff that was in that lawsuit could have avoided hitting the public eye if P. Diddy would have just paid her a settlement before that lawsuit came out. That has nothing to do with a liquor company or anybody else. We got to be honest now with ourselves. We got to be honest with ourselves. Everybody asks, well, why ain't they going after all these white guys and blah, 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 blah. Well, a lot of the white guys that they're talking about are paying these ladies off. So you're never hearing their stories. They're actually paying. Have you did research and saw how many lawsuits Vince McMahon had paid off? So now when you pay these girls off, before they even come and release the lawsuits never hit the light of day, right? So the details never hit the light of day. P. Diddy did not want to pay that girl. But then this is where he destroyed himself. And I told y'all this on the first day. You knew it was a tape out there of you beating the brakes off that girl. That girl alleged in a lawsuit that you beat her. You saw what she was going to put out in the lawsuit before she put it out because her lawyers come to you first. You still didn't want to settle with that girl and pay her no money. They dropped the lawsuit on your helmet. all those details get put out about how all the sexual activity happened and how she was beaten, all these other things. And people demonized that girl. For about cold 2 weeks, people demonized her, said she was a liar, she's capping. Diddy came out in a statement and said it's all a lie. None of it's true. Diddy put out a statement. None of it's true. It's all lies, y'all. I never did anything to her. I never disrespected her. I never touched her. It's all lies. The ignorance of this man, knowing that there's a tape out there, knowing that you beat this girl ass on tape. So now, they say, okay, you want to sit out here and demonize this girl and make it seem like she was lying when all you had to do was pay her and all this stuff would not be happening, right? Think about, get on the stage, Wayne Leaf, I'm getting on, because I be thinking 100 steps ahead of all these people, right? They dropped the tape. Instantly kills his credibility. He's done. Now, he came out and settled 24 hours after she dropped that lawsuit. Settled. ASAP. You know what that did? Everybody said, oh, all these other people clout chasing for money. No. All the other people who are afraid to go against this dude because he has so much power. You got mayors behind this dude, other elected officials behind this dude. This dude out here campaigning in the past, the Vote or Die campaign for the presidency of the United States. This dude had deep connections. So if your lawyer's trying to come up, hey, I ain't trying to go against this shit. I'll get blackballed in my circle and won't get no bread. But once Cassie came out and got that settlement, and then that video came out, floodgates open now. Because now his true character has been put out there. Then he comes with an apology, right? Says what he did in the video was wrong, right? But once again, how did all this start? This didn't start because of Diageo and all these other people and, racism and all this other lame ass excuses that these niggas be putting in the air. Didn't happen because of that. It happened because of the ignorance and the blatant stupidity of P. Diddy to when he had a chance to control that situation and pay that girl before the lawsuit came out, he didn't pay her. He didn't settle it in private, and it went public. That is the reason why this whole situation went public. And a lot of people quiet now, but you know I'm preaching the truth. If P. Diddy paid that girl, you wouldn't be talking about Diageo. You wouldn't be talking about no exposing. You wouldn't be talking about none of this other stuff. So now, once people are seeing that this dude is vulnerable, everybody that ever had a beef with him, all the people that felt the way about how he shitted on them and treated them like crap, all throughout his natural career, right? Now they're lining up to get a piece of this dude because they didn't have the strength to do it before because they didn't think that they could go ahead and achieve victory in going against this guy because the machine was too strong behind him. But once they saw vulnerability, that's when you see all these people coming. Now you see other people capping coming in too. Because they're like, well, shit, everybody going to get this shit. I might as well cap and try and give me some too. And that's what those salt on the game is. You got some people capping, some people lying. But that doesn't get away from the basis of the situation of why P. Diddy is in all of this situation right now because of his arrogance. To know that he had a tape out there of him beating the holy hell out this girl, to lie about it and still not pay the girl, knowing she was going to put those details in that lawsuit and it was going to be public. So the arrogance of this dude, he never thought that tape was going to get put on CNN and blasted to the world. He thought that the black community and everybody was going to have his back and stand 10 toes for him and call her a liar and say everything she said was cap. Even if some of what she said was cap, which I believe. He still lied and said he never abused that woman and put his hands on her. And once you've seen that tape, Rap BET, Rap City, straight like that. Let's keep going.
The feds don't come in quickly to take up cases. They came in and took this up. And as you know,
they took it up because it was a federal case. They took it up because it was a federal case. It crossed state lines. The states didn't take it up because you have numerous victims, according to the lawyer, who filed police reports and went to the hospitals, but their complaints were ignored in these certain areas, right? That is the power that a guy has when you have people plugged in everywhere. So that's why they're saying they're bringing out the police reports, they're bringing out the doctor reports, where people went and got checked up on a doctor after these incidents happened. They got drug tested. They said they got all those reports, right? That they're bringing out against this guy. So that part I disagree with what Dr. Umar is saying, because the ignorance of P. Diddy is what allowed this situation to get out of control. Not no liquor company, not no racism, not no, oh, we going after the black man. No, the ignorance of P. Diddy and the stupidity of knowing that you got a tape out here that's floating around, beating the hell out this girl, and you don't want to cut that cheese. And now since you didn't, she dropped that lawsuit on your head. The details went public. Everybody's looking at you like you crazy. Then people saying she's capping. People taking sides because they love Diddy in the black community. And then what happens? The Friday the 13th, that DVD dropped. And boom, the Ethan Napalm bomb exploded around the world. And that changed the whole game for P. Diddy. And then comes the federal indictment. That's what happened. That's what happened. Because it made everything that Cassie was saying that much more credible. Then you've seen all these other people coming forward. And lawsuit, everybody said, oh, wow, these people coming forward now. Well, because they were afraid to go up against that machine. See what I'm saying? That's why. And now they see vulnerabilities. So all these people that felt like they were violated by times they was with Puff and this and the third, they coming forward now. And then you add that in with some people that's capping, trying to see if, if I can say something dumb and get some money off that. See what I'm saying? That's what happened. Let's keep going.
Have a 97% conviction rate. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying somebody wants Sean Puffy Combs completely destroyed.
See, now that's bullshit. For you to say, for Dr. Umar to say that is bullshit. And I like Dr. Umar, but him saying that is bullshit. Because the feds would have never had a reason to go after Puff if Puff would have paid Cassie first. Because the lawsuit would have never came out and the details of the lawsuit would have never came out. The feds immediately started investigating Puff when he didn't pay Cassie the settlement before she dropped the lawsuit. And she dropped the lawsuit, and those allegations of sex trafficking and those other things came out in the lawsuit. That's what happened. But we always have to have a theory. We always have to have some type of secret agenda. It's bullshit. The agenda is Diddy's stupid ass ego and narcissism would not allow him to pay that girl a settlement before the lawsuit dropped, so that the details wouldn't be put in the public. Because now, here's where Diddy made the mistake. It doesn't matter if you settle a lawsuit with Cassie and you give her an NDA if there was a crime committed, because she has coverage from the law, regardless if there's an NDA, if there was crimes committed within those civil complaints. Once the feds saw that they were crimes that she alleged were committed, and they went and interviewed her, interviewed other witnesses, saw other evidence that was able to put a legitimate case against Diddy, that's when they went after Diddy. People were acting like they just went and grabbed Diddy off the street, locked his ass up, and said, yo, we're gonna get you up out of here. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. What happened is Diddy did not pay Cassie before the lawsuit dropped. That lawsuit dropped. All them allegations came out. Diddy denied it. And then 2 weeks later, CNN drops the video of him beating the holy hell out of Cassie. And now here comes the feds to talk to Cassie about all those other things, crossing state lines and all those other violations, talking to witnesses, gathering evidence, getting enough to do a raid on his house. All of that never would have happened. This is not about Diageo. Everybody keeps saying Diageo. That's complete bullshit. That's complete bullshit. Because when Cassie's lawyers and Cassie went to P. Diddy before they dropped the lawsuit to make a settlement, he did not want to pay her. But the day she dropped the lawsuit and all those details came out, he paid her, but it was too late because he let the details of the lawsuit get out to the public. And then on top of what he did, once he settled, they released a statement that said he was innocent of every single accusation in that lawsuit. And then 2 weeks later, they dropped the video to show that this piece of scumbag on your screen in the middle is a liar, right? And that's the facts of what happened. Didn't have nothing to do with Diageo. Did Diageo tell Diddy to not settle with Cassie before the lawsuit came out? And y'all wonder why all these older Caucasian dudes rarely get caught up in certain situations like that. You know why? Because they're paying settlements to these girls to keep quiet so you never hear their accusations come to the light of day. Right? Now, if you look at Vince McMahon's latest situation with Janelle Grant, watch Vince McMahon's latest situation. He has problems now because he did not want to pay Janelle Grant a settlement. Vince McMahon had paid multiple, over $12 million worth of settlements and lawsuits. This is all documented. Over $12 million versus settlements and lawsuits to keep women quiet. Right? So those were all paid. You never heard from those other chicks. But Janelle Grant, the latest woman to come out, he did not want to pay her. And she made allegations in her lawsuit that she was sex trafficking and all of these different things. So that's why the feds came in May of this year and they asked her to pause her lawsuit for 6 months so that they could do a thorough investigation into Vince McMahon and collect evidence, talk to witnesses, and try to build a case against him. Which is why in December, you will hear from the feds whether or not they built up enough information to pursue a federal case against Vince McMahon. That is what's going on with Vince McMahon. I read all the details in all the articles and in all of the paperwork. This is how you know what's going on. Now let's get back to Dr. Umar.
And I think I know who it is. I believe it is Diego. I believe it is the British-based liquor company that Puffy was doing business with. They're one of the biggest liquor companies in the world. They market and sell some of the most popular brands of liquor, including Ciroc. And Diddy had an agreement with them where they would help him market his De Leon tequila brand. And Diddy took issue with Diego because they had described the De Leon tequila liquor, Puffy's brand, they described it to their customer base as if it was an inner city, urban, quote unquote, ghetto, hip hop type of liquor. And Puffy took issue with that because he said, I'm a global icon. I'm a hip hop mogul. Don't limit my product just to black people. And by doing that, you're dissuading white people and non-blacks from buying my liquor. You're cutting my sales low. And I think you're doing it on purpose because you don't want De Leon tequila to outsell all your other European controlled brands. So Puffy accused Diego of racial discrimination in advertising and marketing. Diego got upset with Puff, British-based company. They said, you done already made $1 billion off of us. How dare you sue us and try to make a few more billion off of us? So they tried to get the case thrown out. But the judge allowed the case to proceed because Diego claimed that there was a clause in their contract with Puff that did not allow him to ever take them to court. Any grievances, according to the contract, Diego alleges needed to be solved outside of court. But the judge sided with Puff and allowed the lawsuit to go forward. So Diego is losing black money because of this racial discrimination piece. Other companies don't want to do business with them because they don't want to be branded as anti-black, even if they are, because everybody knows we disproportionately spend more money on liquor than any other group. So Diego is losing money. Then on top of that, Puff then already made $1 billion off of him. And now Puff is suing him for a few more billion. So what do? They decide to settle out of court. Now check this out. Diego and Puff settled out of court in January 2024. Puffy's homes are raided in March.
Well, let's get to that. First of all, Diageo, and this is why what Dr. Umar saying is wrong again, and he's loud and wrong. And I like Dr. Umar, but he's loud and wrong. Diageo Did they make P. Diddy not pay the original settlement to Cassie before Cassie dropped that lawsuit? Diddy could have he could have paid the settlement to Cassie before she dropped the lawsuit, and nobody would have ever heard about any of these cases. Nobody else made a formal complaint publicly against P. Diddy in a lawsuit that went through until Cassie dropped her lawsuit in front of the world and put it right there in front of y'all's face. So what Dr. Umar is talking about is completely lies. It's wrong. Because Diageo, and he didn't even say the name right, but Diageo didn't have anything to do with that shit. How can they have something to do with Diddy not wanting to pay Cassie a settlement when Diddy could have just paid Cassie a settlement before the lawsuit came out? How? Make it make sense. Diddy could have paid Cassie a settlement because her lawyers went to him, tried to get a settlement. He didn't want to do it. Didn't think that they was really going to drop it. Drops the lawsuit. All the details come out. He settles 24 hours later. Puts out a statement that says, I settled, but she's a liar and everything she said was capped. People in the community agreed with Diddy and said, oh, she's a gold digger. She's a liar. She's this, she's that, she's the third. People going online. Oh, they trying to tear a black man down in our community, man. The rappers and all that stuff saying this dumbass shit. And then what happens? Ethan Napalm Bomb comes out. Video. Then Diddy come on there crying, humbly apologizing for what he did, talking about he was wrong. I messed up. I was in rehab. Nigga, I thought you said you didn't do it. Are you sorry for real, or are you sorry because you got exposed on that tape for beating the brakes off that girl? See, this is the reason why it happened. Had nothing to do with Diageo, nothing to do with that lawsuit. We got to think common sense now. You understand? We gotta use our mind. This is all on the ignorance and stupidity of Puff Sean Diddy Combs. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Now, DL Hughley came out and went nuclear when he heard Dr. Umar say what he said. And this is what DL Hughley said. Now, I don't agree with a lot of stuff DL Hughley said. DL Hughley was out here capping for Joe Biden and all these other people. And I heard him saying that stuff, man. Like I said, I don't have no bark in this fight. I don't like either side of the political spectrum. I think they all the same. But I want y'all to hear what D.L. Hughley said. Let's listen to what D.L. Hughley said in response to Dr. Umar Johnson. And D.L. was smart. He didn't say Umar's name, but we all knew who he was talking about because he threw the bait out there to see if Umar was going to say something. Because as soon as Umar say something back to D.L. Hughley, what D.L. Hughley going to do is he going to go talk about that school. That's what he going to do. I already know what D.L. Hughley going to do. But let's get to it.
If you look at the indictments that have come down over the last few years, you've had Bill Cosby, you have had R. Kelly, you have had now Puffy. It is like they've indicted the 90s. And a phenomenon that seems to always happen, or all too often happen, is when these indictments come down to these people who are beloved in our communities, these people who are, legends in our community. There's almost a nonsensical rush to make sense out of something that doesn't. And I think it's because we hold them higher standard because of the way they made us feel. I think that is how bad we as the people generally need to be feel. We hold these people up. Like it wasn't Cliff Huxtable that was accused. It was Bill Cosby. But we conflate the two. It isn't the people that sing the songs that are doing it. It's the artists. Case in point, what has happened with Puffy? I've heard any number of people. One guy in particular, who I'm not going to say, he went on and on and on about how this was the setup because of his business dealings with the liquor company Diageo, and how he was getting too big for his britches, and how this is a scheme to bring down the black man. And you know what? I am going to take this gentleman at his word. Maybe he is privy to information that only those in the inner circle or inner workings of Puffy's empire would know about. I do find it odd that he would know that much, and instead of telling it to us, he's not telling it to a prosecutor. But I'll take you at your word. Maybe you do have insight as to what happened. Maybe you do have insight as to the inner workings and how these things got weaponized against him. Maybe you do. And I'm going to take you at the word. Maybe you're earnest when you make these accusations, when you say these things. Maybe they did set him up because he was getting too high on the horse. Maybe they did have all these people testify against them. Maybe they did ship vats of baby oil and dildos and KY jelly. Maybe they did scrape the serial numbers off of AK-47. Maybe they did all of that in an attempt to, as you say, bring him down. Maybe they did. I'm going to take you at your word because I think that you're earnestly saying what you think you believe. What you believe. Maybe they did all of those things. Maybe, as you say, and we all know that there can be conspiratorial aspects that are leveled at black man. That is true. So maybe this person knows something. He's telling us in an earnest way. He is laying out the unvarnished truth. And maybe if we took it seriously, this wouldn't be happening. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say that you are probably telling the truth from your perspective. You probably are. And maybe it all makes sense to you. Maybe the setup makes sense to you. Maybe all that happened makes sense to you. All the allegations, the hours and hours and hours of investigation, the years of investigation, a multi-page indictment. Because it's funny to me that the very same people who say these kinds of things, they don't believe a multi-page indictment against a celebrity they love, but they'll believe a lie on the internet about somebody they want to vote for, which seems confusing to me. But I will take you at your word. You seem to be an earnest man who's only concerned about the things that are done right. So maybe all these things happen. Maybe the conspiracy is true. And I only have one question. Which one of those conspirators beat the shit out of Cassie in that hallway? Which one of them? Which one of his business dealings? Which one of those people he was in business with? Which one of those people who were trying to bring him down beat that girl and kicked that girl and dragged her by her hair? So if that is your stance and all those other things are true and they did all those things, we need to get the dude who brutally beat the shit out of that woman in plain sight. That little note from the GED section got a judge report coming up.
So that was D.L. Hughley's response to Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Now, let me answer you real quick, Anita. Anita, you said she stayed. Respectfully, what the fuck do that mean? What do that mean? What does that mean, man? And the reason why I said it like that to you, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Does that take away from what you saw on that tape? That the stupidity of this man in the middle of your screen. Think about this now. I want you to think about something because we got to have some real critical thinking, Anita. I want you to think about something, baby. Some real critical thinking. If you had a tape committing a crime of any level, but especially how P. Diddy was beating the hell out of that girl, right? She threatens, regardless of whether she stayed or not, she threatens to come out and expose you to the public with a lawsuit unless you pay her a settlement, right? Now get on the same wavelength that I'm on right now, right? But you're so fucking arrogant that you know it's a tape out here of you beating the hell out that girl. You know it's a tape of you beating the hell out that girl. You have everything to lose. She comes to you and says, look, man, I'm going to need you to break me off of some bread. I'm going to go viral, and I'm going to put this lawsuit out here, and I'm going to expose all this shit about you. You know it's a tape out here that you beat that girl ass. And you still don't want to pay her. That's Diddy's fault. You know why? Because even though she stayed, he should have never beat that girl ass. And then knowing it's on tape, knowing it's on a hotel tape, you still have the defiance to not only not pay her, but after the lawsuit drops, settle 24 hours later, and then release a statement through your lawyers to say that everything she said was a lie. None of it was true. None of the stuff she said about you beating her, kicking her, throwing objects at her, it's all a fucking lie. That's a statement he put out. And then 2 weeks later, CNN drops the video of you beating the holy hell out this girl. and you're done. Here comes all of the lines of other people that says you violated them for years, that feel like they're vindicated because they're out of your bondage. Now you got people that's capping. You got people that was a part of the shit show. You got people that was complicit. But because now they're putting you out here to dry because you caused this situation, what does her staying have to do anything with P. Diddy's stupidity? If P. Diddy was not a narcissist, if he wasn't an egomaniac, and all of these other things, and just paid Cassie Ventura her settlement before the lawsuit came out, she would have dropped the lawsuit, and you would have never heard, the feds would have never heard, and nobody else would have ever came out and tried to challenge that guy. You don't have no case. P. Diddy's not in jail right now. And all these other things that y'all see going, see, that's the part you don't want to hold down. So you saying she stayed, it doesn't matter. Like The Rock say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because he's on tape whooping that ass. He's on tape whooping that ass. So when she say it's time to collect, you gonna have to break her off. You ain't got no choice. You got too much to lose. And when you a billionaire, and she said, hey, give me 40 million, excuse me. Hey, you break that off. Take that loss. Take that loss. Because you know why? You're going to pay for that in lawyers right now. You were willing to put your house up just to get bail. You take that loss, you're like, damn, I take that loss right there. Straighten your life up. Right? So that's why you guys got to understand that. None of this other stuff would have followed. You guys didn't see any of these things come out about P. Diddy before Cassie. None of it. None of it. But what Cassie's lawsuit did was it offered all these people who had complaints about Diddy over the years to now, here comes the maggots. It's time to eat. See what I'm saying? All the people that you treated like shit, all the people that you did wrong, and then some niggas is just capping trying to see if they can get a check. Some people was complicit, but guess what? They gonna turn state on you. They gonna turn on you. Because I ain't trying to stand beside you, you up here getting prosecuted. Shit, I'm a snitch. See? So again, you guys, this is the reason why I laugh when people say, oh man, it's Diageo. It's Diageo. Man, Diageo didn't make that man make that dumbass decision. It would be different if the feds just came knocking on Diddy's door and we didn't have no lawsuits, no nothing. He didn't, none of that stuff. That'd be different. If they just came and yanked his ass up out of the blue, that's different. That's not how this went down. That is not how this went down. See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying to you, my sister Anita. That's why her thing, yeah, we look at that. We understand what time it is, but it don't matter in the grand scheme of things because P. Diddy's ignorance, his blatant ignorance, see what I'm saying, is what caused this entire situation to get to where it's at right now. Straight like that. If you guys go look at any of these other cases that are non-black, most of these guys are settling. They got settlements with chicks that details never hit the light of day. So a lot of times, them feds don't see that. But when the feds saw that Cassie put that she was getting trafficked and all this other stuff in that lawsuit, here they come. And that's why you saw all of these other things. And to write to the brother that's in the comments, Justice 513, the same way that tape got Ray Rice, right? Same way the tape got Ray Rice. And to this brother right here says, Ticky, you in your feelings. Yeah, I'm in my feelings. You know why I'm in my feelings, dog? Because I'm a different type of nigga than you. I don't look at it like that. See what I'm saying? I look at it like that could be your sister. See, I'm going to tell you something. Like Anton Davis, let me tell you something. If P. Diddy was beating the hell out your sister like that, and you wasn't around, but some other brothers was around and nobody did nothing to help your sister, how would you feel, my G? See, sometimes you have to have an open mind and a compassionate heart, because sometimes God will put you in situations where it's nothing that you can do, but it's something somebody else could have did. See what I'm saying? Something somebody else could have did to try to help or change that situation. You understand what I'm saying? And to the brother who said that state charges, it's not state charges, sex trafficking. Sex trafficking are Fed charges. Educate yourself, sir. Educate yourself, sir. What Cassie put in the lawsuit are federal charges, sir. The beating, that's state, but you're not looking at what Cassie put in the lawsuit, Anton Davis. Educate yourself. Study thyself. Study to show thyself approval, my friend. See, if you don't study and understand what's going on, you just gonna be dumb, deaf, and blind out here in these streets, and you won't know what the hell is going on. So you're saying these are state charges, but what Cassie put in her lawsuit are federal allegations and present federal charges, sir. So you're wrong. Learn before you speak, sir, because y'all run around here sounding like a bunch of damn fools and you don't even know the law. You don't even know the law. If that was state laws, Diddy's lawyers would have got the case thrown out already, because the feds would not be able to pick it up, you damn fool. You think that multi-million-dollar lawyers won't figure that out before you sitting on your sofa? Anton? Okay, that's what I thought. See, you guys got to use y'all brains. You understand what I'm saying? When you say stuff, man, use your brain, dog. Use your brain. It ain't hard to tell. It ain't hard to tell. When you say, and when you got people on tape, that was with Diddy on a daily basis, on tape, putting themselves in the crime. What else we talking about? And to the verse in Proverbs 31:25, the feds have a 99.2 conviction rate as of today. As of today. Google it. But when you have people that's putting themselves into play, see, this is the part y'all forgetting. It ain't people that's just pointing the finger. This man that I'm about to show y'all right now, that did the interview on Art of Dialogue, he put himself into play. He said, we used to spike those bottles. That's what he said. Not, oh, it was Diddy spiking the bottles. He said, we. Listen.
I want to get your opinion. You know, you was around Puffy, you was on Bad Boy. You know, looking at this lawsuit, Cassie, she claims that her and Diddy had freak-off sessions where they would get a male. You talking about the freak-off sessions where they used to do in the studio and all of that over different entertainers' houses and stuff? Where they be having them parties where they won't invite you to? And they be like, we having a party tonight, but this ain't your kind of party. You be like, yeah, I ain't going. I don't want to go. Freak-off parties, when you go in there and it be, yo, let me tell you something. We used to go in the club.
We. Not Diddy. Diddy. No. We. So you think a man that was with Puff is on a national platform going to implicate himself if he's lying and capping? That's why I always tell you, bro, study to show thyself approval. If you don't study, you're going to fail the test, brother. That's why you listen to what people say, not what you want to hear people say. He said, we.
Party, you be like, yeah, I ain't going. I don't want to go. Freak-off parties, when you go in there and it be, yo, let me tell you something. We used to go in the club. We go into the nightclub, right? And we go and get to the VIP. All of these girls come around the VIP and they just be standing there. And like, let me tell you something, man. I'm going to get back with you. We got to rewind this back. We used to go to when we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they been have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there.
You done. Why is these niggas arguing? When a man put himself in on the play. What else we talking about? Why would somebody incriminate themselves in the play if they lying or capping? Why? Make it make sense before y'all say stuff, man. Just make it make sense. He said, we. He ain't sit up there and say, yeah, but that was Puff, man. No. He said, we. That's why people, I swear, bro, people destroy me, man, with the lack of knowledge and understanding. Talking about Diageo. This man did this interview damn near a year ago. So that's Diageo?
You gotta rewind this back. We used to go to when we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they been have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was. You just don't mess with them bottles, right? Then all of the girls is in the club after a while. They all running, opening up their mouth like little birds. Just run around just popping pills in their mouth. Pop, pill.
You still arguing, dog? You still arguing, brother? Or Anton, you came to your senses? You still arguing, or you came to your senses by now, brother? That's all I want to know. Have you come to your senses, or you still arguing? So yesterday, Anton, when the lawyer came out yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Tony Busby, when he came out and said that they have doctor's notes and they have actual, not only do he say they have doctor's notes, but he said they have actual, sir, police reports at the time, along with the doctor reports. And he said that they found these women were drugged. That goes right along to what Mark Curry said that they was doing to the chicks almost a year ago. What else are you talking about? That's no conspiracy. That's no cap. That's no none of this shit. That is somebody who went on an open network in an interview and said what they were doing and implicated himself in the crime as well. Right? They knowingly knew that they were spiking these women's bottles to get them open. Now, listen to what the lawyer said yesterday about what they found in the drug test that he will be presenting. They found horse tranquilizer in these people's system, a drug called Trank. They also found the C word in these people's system, that other drug, right? Listen. If you listen, you guys won't be having those stupid arguments coming on here capping. Period.
Forward and to make these types of allegations when something very terrible has happened to them. I'll use New York, the state of New York, as an example. The state of New York has specific statutes in place that revive claims that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that it revives such claims and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. And I expect more victims will come forward. You know, there's an old saying that says, a lie has great speed, but truth has endurance. The acts complained of in these cases that we're going to file occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami. Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct in the promise of being made a star, or in the promise of having Sean Combs listen to their tape, or even let them read for Sean Combs. You should know that some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with. You should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. We're in the process of collecting with our team assistants, medical records, reports that were made to the authorities.
That's what's going to destroy him. They're getting the police reports and the medical records. That's what I try to tell y'all. You can say whatever you want to say. If those people went, let me say it again. If those people went to the police at that time and went and got medical reports at that time, he's done. Because listen to what he said. He said that these people were tested during that time, and they had different things, drugs in their system. Listen to what he said. Y'all got to listen.
And I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did, in fact, talk to the FBI. You should know that several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did, in fact, seek medical treatment were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs.
See?
Drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine, or trank, which, based on our research, is known as a horse tranquilizer.
Now, why would that keep popping up in people's system? But didn't that man tell you that they were spiking them people's drinks? But y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to listen. The lawyer going to bring that paperwork. And when he get that paperwork and prove that these people reported these things and were tested at those times, and he attaches that to that lawsuit and they send it to the feds, what are y'all going to say? Because in real time, those people were making those reports. They were going to get drug tested. They're putting the paperwork in the lawsuits. That's why I don't understand, like, the mentality of a lot of people that's saying this stuff. When they say, oh, Diageo did this, what do they do? If P. Diddy would have settled with Cassie before the lawsuit, none of this shit would have ever came out. The ball got started, the first domino fell when Cassie dropped that lawsuit with all those allegations, and Diddy settled a day later. That's what happened. Literally. This wasn't no, hey, Diageo, hey, go raid Diddy's house right now. No lawsuit, but they raided him, arrested him, and did all that other shit. No. This was based off his stupidity and his ignorance to not want to pay that girl that settlement. And then look, if you're innocent, why pay her the settlement? Diddy don't want to pay nobody else no settlement right now. Why pay Cassie that settlement if you're innocent? You paid her the settlement, and now you still dealing with way more problems. Had a tape dropped on you and exposed. But you dropped that settlement, then talking about you was innocent of all those accusations. Why settle if you was innocent? Make it make sense.
Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people.
Yeah, and let me say something before this. I'm going to give y'all a perfect example. This is the reason why I respect guys like Michael Irvin. This is why I respect Dak Prescott. When them girls came out and said them niggas was lying, guess what they did? Oh, hell no. I'm going to protect my integrity. Go get the tape. I'm suing your ass. And guess what? Both Dak Prescott and Michael Irvin won their individual situations. Michael Irvin got all, I think, got like $25 to $50 million off his settlement. When the hotel and them was trying to get this dude thrown under a jail. He lost his job at ESPN, all these other places. He stood on business. That's the type of man I can respect. Because he was willing to say, hey, go get the tape. And when they played the tape, there was nothing in that tape that made you think he did something out of the way. Nothing. And so what happened? He fought the system and got paid. P. Diddy settled and paid the girl. And then had a tape drop on him that exposed him for being a scumbag. Make it make sense.
Not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit. These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case.
Y'all know what that means, right? That means that it's going to be 120 cases with 120 different accusations against P. Diddy. That means that there's going to be co-conspirators, other people that's getting sued in certain lawsuits, and they're going to be telling the certain details. It's going to be 120 different lawsuit details filed in court. Think about that, y'all. I want y'all to think about this. It's going to be 120 different lawsuits. So remember when Cassie dropped her lawsuit and y'all was reading all those pages and all these allegations? You're going to have 120 different lawsuits. No, I don't mean the NFL Network. Michael Irvin got sent home from ESPN because of that shit too. 120 different lawsuits. That means that you're going to be looking through those lawsuits and saying, damn, dog, all of this, it's going to be all different lawsuits. And he says they naming names in these lawsuits. Co-conspirators, famous people. Think about that.
Each case may be filed in one venue like California. Another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people. I would expect most, though, to be filed, as I said, thinking or hoping or perhaps believing that I may start naming names. Well, that day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate.
Liquid Swords, you're wrong, sir. Use your brain, brother. A wealthy black man is the reason why Diddy's on the hot seat. Because he did not pay Cassie that settlement. If he pays Cassie that settlement, you don't hear about any of these other things going on. The lawsuit never comes out. The accusations are never put in the public. He never has to come 24 hours and settle. The videotape probably is never released. What are you talking about? Use your brain, sir. God gave you a brain for a reason. Use it.
What we've been told are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are. I call them the facilitators of foul play, willing participants in vile.
Excuse me, sir. They had not been investigating Diddy. If you read the actual indictment, sir, the indictment is about Cassie Ventura and her case recently against P. Diddy. The feds recently started investigating P. Diddy, you damn fool. The AI riddle room, we're just going to call you the AI simple room. Because if you go and listen to the actual indictment press conference by the man Damien with the bald head, right? He said they recently started investigating Sean P. Diddy Combs. What in the blue hell is wrong with our people? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, dog? Sitting up there looking like a low-budget gunner. Sit down. The hell is wrong with these people?
Conduct. As we identify them, each will be part of this case as defendants. These defendants will not only include individuals, but would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels. We know that many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave. And then threatened as they were leaving. So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their text and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something.
Now, ain't that what P. Diddy artists said that they did to chicks? What else we talking about? His artists already admitted that that is what they did to chicks. Laced the drinks. What else we talking about? Case closed. Case closed. P. Diddy's artist came out, put himself into play, and said they used to lace these women's drinks. There's nothing else to talk about. Once you've laced a woman's drink and she doesn't know what the hell she's doing, that is not consent. You're done. It's over with. That's what you guys don't get to y'all's brain. Y'all talking about, hey man, it's Diageo, it's this, it's that, it's that. Nigga, it's Diddy, nigga.
Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted, I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse.
Next 30 days, y'all gonna get names. Y'all gonna get names. I don't understand why this is even an argument no more. I don't understand. I don't understand. But, it is what it is, man. But yeah, so DL responded to Dr. Umar. I think Dr. Umar, I like Dr. Umar. I don't dislike Dr. Umar. I like Dr. Umar. I think he cool, man. I don't dislike the brother, but I just disagree with some of the stuff he says. It's just factually untrue. The same way I don't agree, and if you know me, I don't like DL Hughley either. I think DL Hughley will sit up there and talk all that trash about Shannon Sharp, but he'll run over there with DJ Vlad. Make it make sense. You talk about Shannon Sharp as Whitney Williams with a bench press, but you sit over here teamed up with DJ Vlad, the ultimate. You understand what I'm saying? Dude that's out here on Wendy Williams' time. You understand? So, yeah, like I said before, I don't like DL Hughley. I don't think what he did was right. You gonna get mad at Shannon Sharp based off something that Cat Williams said. He can't control Cat Williams. Straight up, you want him to stop Cat Williams. No. Make it make sense. That man gonna say what he gonna say in that interview. Same thing when you go to Vlad, you gonna say what you say. Man, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. But I do think that Umar has a great heart. I think he got a good heart. I think he want to do the right things. So I'm not, against what Umar wants to do. I don't think he has a bad heart. You know what I'm saying? DL's a hater though, man. DL sitting up there, like I said before, man. DL sitting up there, you get mad at Shannon Sharp because of his interview with Cat Williams, but you going over there with DJ Vlad. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make sense, bro. Make that make sense. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like, share, subscribe, man. Let me know what y'all feel in the comment section, man. Salute to everybody. Y'all make sure y'all click the link. I'm going to put the link at the top of the comments. Subscribe to the podcast show. I'm going live on the podcast show tonight. Only on the podcast show. Only on the Ticket TV podcast show. The link pinned at the top. Y'all let me know what y'all feel. Peace.